Hello, Deke. I have some questions for you.
What do you need to know?
Will all of my beasts produce magical materials?
Only a happy beast will produce such materials. Simply use the skills you learned in Beast class. Feeding your beast or grooming them with a brush will make them happier.
How should I collect magical materials?
It's quite easy. Simply approach a happy beast and they'll provide you with any magical materials they can.
What uses do magical materials have?
They have a variety of uses, all of which help to make a witch or wizard more powerful. Deke thinks it might be easier to show you once you have some materials to work with.
Thank you. I'll get back to collecting materials.
Wonderful. Good luck.
Everything's all right now. I'll look after you. Revelio. Settle. Confringo. I've collected some magical materials, Deke.
Now, Deke can show you how to use them. First, you'll need to use this spellcraft to conjure an enchanted loom.
An enchanted loom?
Exactly. It will allow you to use your magical materials to weave magic into the very threads of your clothing, making your clothing more useful in a variety of ways. Why don't you try it? Deke thinks you'll be impressed with what the loom can do.
I'll go and experiment with the loom now. And what did you ask me to do with my magical materials?
Use the spellcraft to conjure an enchanted loom. Then you'll be able to weave your magical materials into your clothing. Come back to Deke once you've enhanced a piece of clothing.
I'd like to ask you about changing the room's ambience.
Of course. What sort of overall look most appeals to you?
Actually, perhaps another time.
Off on another adventure, are we? Now you should be able to travel to and from Feldcroft in an instant.
You made it.
Enjoying the view?
Keeping an eye on things. Feldcroft isn't what it used to be. No one has felt safe here since Ranrock's loyalists took a peculiar interest in that castle over there. Rookwood Castle. My uncle Solomon is a former Auror and refuses to look into it, even after Anne was cursed by one of them. Possibly with a wand, no less.
I heard a goblin refer to wizard kind as wand carriers. Are goblins forbidden from carrying wands?
Precisely. That's why I'm on the hunt for answers. If I'm to cure her, I need to understand what happened to her. Anne was always the most mischievous of the three of us. Which is saying something, knowing me and Ominous. I'm hoping a surprise visit from me and a new friend from Hogwarts will help lift her spirits. Bring back the Anne I used to know. Come on, I'll take you to my uncle's. This way. Feldcroft used to be a lot livelier.
You can't...
With Ranrock's lot wandering about all the time. Everyone stays out of sight. Here we are. My sister should be just inside.
Aha! Sebastian, where did you...
Is that what I think it is?
We've been over this, boy.
Hey!
Shrivelfigs cannot reverse a curse. Nothing can. The sooner you accept that reality, the better.
But we haven't tried everything.
There is no cure! When will you accept that?
Never. I can never accept it.
Now look what you've done.
I'm sorry.
Leave.
I'm sorry you had to see that. If you don't mind, I just need a moment alone.
Poor Sebastian. Not the visit he'd hoped for.
Revelio.
An intruder!
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. I'm Bernard Indiai, and this is my shop. Is there anything I can help you with?
What do you have for sale?
That boy will fray my last nerve.
Excuse me, Mr. Sallow.
Oh, yes, Sebastian's friend. I apologize on behalf of my nephew. He doesn't know when to stop. He thinks he can help Anne, but nothing can be done for her.
It could be that you've not yet discovered the cure.
Ah, you sound like Sebastian, thinking you know better than the healers at St. Mungo's.
Perhaps the healers don't know everything, sir. Sebastian is single-mindedly focused on finding a way to help his sister. If there is a cure, he will find it.
Your faith in Sebastian is misplaced. Some sort of dark magic cursed Anne, and the goblins aren't likely to explain themselves anytime soon. Giving her hope is cruel. The only thing to do now is keep Anne comfortable and stay out of the Loyalists' way.
I understand what you're saying, sir.
Good. I know what's best for Anne and Sebastian. They are my stubborn brother's children. Especially Sebastian. If you really want to be of help, you'll make sure Sebastian does what he should do, not what he wants to do. He's no idea the harm he could do if he doesn't stop. I hope you remember what I've said. Good day.
I'm sorry about earlier. Those bouts of pain are difficult to bear.
Are you all right, Anne? I didn't mean to intrude.
You didn't. Truly. And I'm all right. The pain from this curse comes in bouts, and often suddenly. It's not anyone's fault. It's nice to meet you, by the way. You must be the new 5th year Sebastian told me about.
I am. Sebastian and I met during a rather lively duel in defense against the dark arts.
Oh, dear Professor Hecat. She's a powerful witch. And she knows how to keep students like my brother, and me, in line.
I do miss Hogwarts, but I wouldn't mind being in Feldcroft really if it wasn't so dreary now. Between the goblins at the castle and my uncle fighting with Sebastian whenever he's home, it's not the cozy retreat it once was.
Sebastian mentioned something about your uncle being an ex-Auror, but refusing to go after Ranrock's loyalists. I must say, I wasn't prepared for him to be as angry as he was.
Uncle Solomon is frustrated by what happened to me, and by Sebastian for thinking he can fix it. They both mean well, I know they do, but my uncle is right. This curse cannot be undone. I can feel it. Sebastian cannot take away my pain. Perhaps you can help him to understand that.
I'm afraid it's really up to Sebastian, and his mind seems to be made up.
I can only hope he realizes the futility of his search for a cure soon. I'm getting tired. I should probably rest. Thank you for stopping by. I wish you well.
I ought to see how Sebastian's faring. Revelio.
Why will he not listen to me? She's my sister.
How are you doing, Sebastian?
You got a first-hand glance at what I'm dealing with. I apologize for my uncle.
I'll admit I wasn't expecting him to be so angry.
He's always angry. He's been angry since my parents died. After Anne was hurt, he only grew worse. It's as though he blames me somehow, always calling me my father's son, as if that's an insult. I'm the one trying to help her. He's simply given up.
Both Anne and your uncle seem genuinely convinced that nothing more can be done for her.
I refuse to believe that. Anne's pain is more than physical. It has changed her entirely. I miss my sister. And I'm going to get her back. Come with me. I need to show you where it happened. Ranrock's loyalists are capable of so much more than people realize. They should not be underestimated. All the debris you'll see is from whatever's going on at that abandoned estate. They've been digging for something. Up there, on that plateau, is where they cursed Anne. This way.
How much longer are we expected to dig through this rubble? Ranrock knows what he's doing. It's an honor to be a part of it. Only good wizard is a dead wizard in my book.
Ringo!
You've made your last mistake. I don't have time for this.
Ringo!
How nice. This is almost too easy. Impressed? Missed me. You almost had a lucky shot. Let's get this over with. Rather unwise coming back this way. I won't rest. Who do you think? What? There you are. I won't rest. Dead. I've been fighting since before you were born. You won't stop me. Stupid.
I confess, that was a bit more than I bargained for. I tried to warn you.
Those loyalists deserved what they got.
Couldn't agree more. This is where it happened. We smelled smoke in the middle of the night. When we looked outside, flames were shooting from the estate. Before my uncle and I could stop her, Anne rushed out, racing towards the fire, worried someone had been hurt. She came face to face with a horde of goblins, frantically trying to stamp out the flames. Suddenly, an icy voice drifted out from somewhere in the smoke. Children should be seen and not heard. A blinding blast followed. They didn't even give her a chance to run.
It sounds as if the Loyalists attacked Anne without cause.
I wouldn't put it past them, but I'm convinced that they were trying to hide something. It may be grasping at Billywigs, but I keep thinking that there might be something here that could lead me to whoever cursed Anne. Might be the only way to learn what type of magic harmed her, which could help me find a cure.
Perhaps you're right. The Loyalists are everywhere, but they do seem to be spending a lot of time here, and it's likely they're hiding something.
And at Rookwood Castle. Shall we have a look around? They seem to have set up camp here for a specific reason. They have stayed... for everything.
Revelio.
I've heard goblin dig sites like these are popping up everywhere.
It's a wonder the Ministry isn't doing more. Always armed and ready for a fight, Ranrock's Loyalists. Whose home was this?
Been abandoned long since I've lived here. Rumour was a Hogwarts professor lived here once, centuries ago. But that's all I ever heard. It might be worth taking a closer look at the house itself.
Revelio. This well looks familiar. Sebastian! I've seen this before. The house, the well, the view.
What do you mean? When?
Give me a moment. I'll explain in a second. Revelio.
Revelio.
Sebastian, over here. Do you think this was damaged by the fire the night that Anne was cursed?
Could be. But it looks to me as though this was intentional.
Confringo. Incendio. Expelliarmus. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Incendio.
Sebastian, this house did belong to a Hogwarts professor, hundreds of years ago.
Who? What do you...
I found a pensive that day in the restricted section, with a memory that showed this house. There was a little girl and a drought. The keepers have shown me other memories as well. The girl became a Hogwarts professor. Her name was Isadora Morganach. She was one of the keepers.
The keepers? Like in Quidditch? And you found a pensive in the library? I'm not following you.
I realize it's a lot to take in. I'm not even sure I understand it all yet. And no, not like Quidditch. They call themselves keepers because they're protecting some type of knowledge. It all has to do with the vault at Gringotts.
Let me see if I've got this straight. You have Ranrock and Rookwood after you because of something you found at Gringotts where you ended up via a portkey. You can see traces of an ancient magic that you think Ranrock is trying to harness. And now you've been witnessing memories left by keepers. Oh, and this house belonged to a Hogwarts professor who was one of these non-Quidditch keepers hundreds of years ago. If I didn't know you, I'd think you were pulling my leg.
It is all a bit much, isn't it, when you put it like that? The point is, we both have good reason to search this house. You for answers about what happened to Anne, and me for answers about the keepers.
Look at this.
Someone piled this here for a reason. Is it blocking something?
Only one way to find out. Huh, a stairwell.
Revelio.
Why bother blocking a stairwell?
There might be something here worth a closer look.
They've left all of this simply strewn about. Tells me they're after something bigger.
Journal entry of Isadora's. Seems these journal entries are from Isadora's travels.
Revelio. Incendio. Revelio.
Fall dead asleep on my feet, I could.
Incendio.
believe this. I can see the Undercroft.
What? A daydream? Because that happens to me too.
I know it sounds strange.
Honestly, nothing you say sounds strange to me anymore.
Fair enough. I can see the Undercroft through this stone wall, as though it's a window. This has happened before.
I'm listening.
I think it's to do with my ability to see traces of ancient magic.
But you said you didn't really understand it, and that you couldn't wield it.
That's true, and I'm still not sure what it all means. What I do know is that my ability allows me to travel through these windows I see.
Wait. We can get straight to the Undercroft from here. Ominous will be floored.
We can, but perhaps best not to tell anyone else about this for now. Even Ominous.
Understood. Well then, invisible, secret, ancient magic passageway? Here we come. I'm tempted to hold my breath. Why would the door lead us here?
Sebastian, look. Why hide a triptych here?
Seems as if something's missing.
A note. Let's have a look. Revelio.
Anything helpful in the note?
A rune symbol. I've seen similar symbols used by the Keepers.
I've been thinking. A keeper lived in that house centuries ago, and Ranrock and his lot have been searching there. You said that goblins may be wielding some form of this ancient magic. Do you think Anne was cursed by ancient magic?
I can't be sure, of course, but I don't think so. I didn't see any traces of it around your sister.
Very well. But that doesn't mean it's not ancient magic. There's still so much we don't know about it.
True. Perhaps this triptych will lead us to answers.
Then we'll have to unravel what this all means. But now I need to see Ominous. Don't worry, I won't tell him anything. Did I mention that, apparently, Salazar Slytherin had a secret scriptorium here, in Hogwarts?
You did not. Sounds worth looking into. Any idea where in the castle?
No idea. Ominous just learned of it. I'll let you know what I find out. I had no idea our visit to Cian would unfold into all of this. My head's an utter mess. But I'm glad you told me everything you did. I'll be in touch. Till then.
Revelio. Came out nicely. I should show Deke. I used the enchanted loom, Deke.
Wonderful.
Will I be able to weave even more powerful magic into my clothing with the loom?
You will, by rescuing even more powerful beasts. For now, however, Deke suggests you explore the vivarium and get to know the beasts you've already rescued.
Thank you for your help, Deke.
Meet me near the ruins of Falbaton Castle. After dark. Do not tell anyone.
Ugh, what am I?
Alohomora. Revelio.
Anyone care enough to remove my demiguise statue?
Pardon me, sir, but about those curious demiguise statues I've seen.
What? Who are you? Why do you ask?
They're quite clever.
Oh, thank you. A lot of craftsmanship and care went into them. I assume.
So you did create them?
Yes, I did. It was a ploy to give that pathetic oaf Moon a taste of the grief he caused me years ago. You are the one who's been pilfering them.
I am, at the request of Mr. Moon. I received your owl. On your stationery.
Ah. Well, fitting Moon would enlist a student. Too cowardly to do it himself. Hasn't changed a bit. Even when we were at school, he was a cowardly bully. Gave me a horrible nickname, which I shan't repeat. I was thrilled when we left school and he seemed gone for good. Then I started seeing him around Hogsmeade. It was too much. Even if I do take satisfaction in that his life's destiny was to be a lowly caretaker.
Mr. Moon does a good deal for the school, and he's taught me a lot. He's terrified of those statues.
I know. You should have seen his face when that boggart appeared. Oh, priceless. That's when I knew what I needed to do. I simply didn't want to encounter him anymore. So, I shrewdly put a boggart in his path to learn his greatest fear. I then created the demiguise statues to keep him in his place, so to speak. The moons were an inspired play on his name. It worked brilliantly. Until you started clearing them out.
The statues are a form of bullying. You'll know better than him. Perhaps it's time you both moved on.
Fair point, I suppose. If they've terrified him, as you say, he may have learned his lesson. Quiet, please. We are making...
Mr. Moon, I've learned who's behind the demiguise statues. It was an old schoolmate of yours, Piers Pemberton.
Oh, I might have known. Pigtails Piers.
Yes, him. That's the one.
Oh, he could always take a joke, Piers. He's playing with me. Ha! Hasn't changed a bit. Oh, I wonder if he still has the flowing locks. Pigtails. Clever, clever man. I'd no idea he was so devious. I must go and congratulate him. Whatever statues remain seem less terrifying now that I know they were put out by old pigtails. Continue collecting them if you like. As for me, I'm gonna go and pay a visit to my old friend.
Looks rather dark in there. Never stopped me before.
Come on inside. Oh, watch yourself, though. Let's have you leave here alive.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Whew. Sorry I'm in a bit of a tizzy. I was just scolding some of the plants for spitting and nipping. I suppose it's my own fault for putting more than 4 to a tray. By the way, Beatrice Green is the name, but you may address me as Madam Green. Welcome to Dogweed and Deathcap. Oh, mind you don't knock the mandrakes. Oh, if there wasn't the constant demand for antidotes, I wouldn't need to stock so many of the little dears. Except, of course, for curses. And, well, if you've been petrified, then obviously you've come to the right place. Mind you don't knock the mandrakes. Oh, if there's an uprooting, you'll be the next one to drop dead, and I'm in no mood for a clear-up.
What do you have for sale?
Your things will be safe with me, until they're sold. Then you'll have to make do with money. Such a wee bairn gieing a thrashing to a troll! Oh, I can't believe it! Oh, I'm always thrilled when a young one makes a wise purchase. I can tell you'll go far. Doors always open. You be sure to stop by soon. Oh, I'm always thrilled when a young one makes a wise purchase. I can tell you'll go far. You followed a wee butterfly to a grand treasury.
They come after me. I'll stick 'em like a knot. This is utter nonsense. I've never heard such rubbish in all my life. I think I get more sense out of Mooncard. Kevin, thought we'd forget about that goblin helm you stole.
Be a beast.
Finals all finished.
Too slow. Incendio! You'll need to be quicker than that. Bingo! Was that meant to be an attack of some sort? Marvelous! Incendio! No!
Incendio!
And Bingo! Made one of my own. You will fall!
Incendio! The flames consume you!
Stupid one! Mariana! Incendio!
Oh, no, you don't! No.
The beasts are safer now. Sometimes it seems all roads lead to Hogsmeade.
Thank you for your persistence and cleverness. I confronted Piers about it, and he confessed straight away, the old rascal.
Wonderful to see you again.
I've completed my assignments, Professor.
Pleased to hear it. Professor Weasley will be too. I'll be sure to let her know how well you're coming along.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Hecat tells me she taught you Levioso, so you should be ready for a more advanced levitation charm. Wingardium Leviosa requires a bit of concentration and a nice, graceful wand movement. Let's see you try your hand at it. When executed correctly, you should be able to pick up boulders as though they were sprigs of sneezewort.
Professor Garlick, a moment of your time?
The plants are resting, so now's as good a time as any.
I was wondering, what made you want to teach herbology?
How lovely of you to ask. I've always had an affinity for greenery, so this situation is a bit of a dream come true. After graduation, I was thrilled to be asked to step in for my old herbology professor. He'd had a slight accident, you see.
Oh dear. A shame for him, but it worked out well for you.
Well, he never cared, really cared for the plants, and they could sense it. Oh, you'd be surprised how perceptive a plant can be. At any rate, the trouble began one day when he cut into a wigan tree. Unfortunately for him, its leaves were hiding a bowtruckle. You may recall the marvellous creatures that resemble a twig. The little beast gouged the professor's eyes quite fiercely, but terrifying, I'd imagine. Likely for the professor, too.
And that's when you took over as the herbology professor?
Well, not quite. After 3 weeks at St. Mungo's, my predecessor regained a tiny bit of his eyesight. He insisted on returning to the greenhouse. Within a week, he claims by accident, kicked a Chinese chomping cabbage, so it was back to St. Mungo's for him.
What a string of bad luck.
Well, I felt awful for him, but I dare say I felt a bit more sympathy for the cabbage. Upon his discharge from the hospital, his indifference to plants had turned to utter disdain. He lost what little patience he had left with a particularly temperamental venomous tentacula and, well, his resulting leave of absence continues to this day.
I'm glad everything worked out as it did, and that you're the herbology professor now.
Very kind of you to say. I do love these gardens and helping my students grow. Lovely speaking with you. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and remember, be kind to your wigan trees. You're a natural.
All of my siblings have
There's
finished.
something in there. I just know it.
I do get nervous when the owls fly into the room.
Anything to do with the dark art should be avoided. It's too risky.
Anything to do with Salazar Slytherin is worth the risk.
I can't agree. And I'll not say a word more. I'm sorry.
I won't give up.
What were you and Ominous speaking about?
He's being ridiculous. Apparently, Salazar Slytherin had a secret scriptorium here in Hogwarts. Ominous swears it was used for the dark arts, so he wants nothing to do with it. I reminded him that Anne needs a cure. This scriptorium could hold the answers we need.
Ominous is right. Meddling in the dark arts is dangerous.
There's more to dark magic than people realize. The Gaunts know this. Better than most. Perhaps I've spoken out of turn. Ominous's family history is personal to him.
I'd like to know more about it, if you wouldn't mind telling me. I won't repeat it.
Very well. But do keep this between us. Ominous learned dark magic from his parents. Are you familiar with the Cruciatus Curse?
Crucio, correct? The Cruciatus Curse, also known as the Torture Curse, inflicts excruciating pain on the victim.
Apparently, his parents and older siblings had no qualms about casting it on muggles for sport. Ominous described the sound of the victim's cries as horrific, so the first time he was asked to cast it himself as a child, he couldn't bring himself to do it. As punishment, his family cast it on him. The anguish was so bad that when asked to cast it again, he relented. I have repeatedly assured Ominous that he did what he had to, but he still hasn't forgiven himself.
That's awful. But no matter the circumstance, he should never have cast it. He should have known better.
Trust me, it's not as easy as you might assume, thinking straight when you've been hit with Crucio. After that incident, the rift between Ominous and his family only grew. That is until I came along. Every moment he isn't at Hogwarts, he's with us in Feldcroft. Ominous trusts me. And more often than not, he winds up listening to me. I'll remind him of that when I follow up about the scriptorium. Watch for my owl. I'll have news soon enough. I'll make Ominous understand. He'll change his mind.
I've always said that travel broadens the mind.
It's me, Gareth. Do you have a moment?
Levioso!
Adelaide Oaks, isn't it? I received your owl.
Yes, I'm Adelaide Oaks. Oh dear. You see, my Uncle Roland is a metal trader who's quite well known in the goblin community. He normally sends me owls every week when he's on his business travels. In his last owl, he alluded to dealings with those radical goblins, Ranrock's loyalists. It's been ages since that owl and I'm worried. What with the troll attack on Hogsmeade and the rumours that goblins may have been involved, well, I'm fearing the worst. Should I be worried about my uncle, or am I overthinking this?
I'm not convinced you need to worry. Perhaps your uncle's been delayed, and surely he can take care of himself.
That's exactly what Professor Weasley said when she forbade me from leaving the grounds to look for him. She's convinced he can handle himself, but I can't concentrate on anything until I know he's all right. Could you try to find out for me? From what I hear, you're almost as adventurous as Uncle Roland.
I'll try and look into it for you, Adelaide.
Thank you. He's very thorough in his record keeping, notes all his trades in a journal, makes maps. In fact, in his last owl, he drew me a map of his next stop. He'd planned to set up camp north of here. I do hope you're able to find out where he is. Thank you again for any help you can provide.
You would never leave me to worry like
I hope Adelaide's Uncle Roland is all right. She seems very worried. Adelaide mentioned her uncle's camp may be near Brockborough, past the river. Is everything all right?
Oh, hello. Nice to see you again. Thank you for asking. And I'm afraid everything's not all right. I may be in a spot of trouble with the librarian. You might recall that I was trying to cast non-verbally when we met in the common room. Well, I mastered that. And now I've taken to creating my own charms. Thought I'd perfected my light as a feather charm to use on my library books. My arms get so tired carrying them around all day. But I must have confused the Latin word for feather with bird in my incantation, because when I opened my bag just now in the library, they literally took flight.
That sounds brilliant, actually.
Thank you. Somehow I don't think the librarian will see it that way. I collect the books and remove the charm myself, except this isn't the first time one of my charms has threatened the peace of the library. Our meet told Madame Scribner they were my books flying around, so she said that if I caused her any more trouble, she'd write to my parents. Perhaps you could get them for me. There are only 5. She won't be suspicious of a new student looking around.
I suppose I could help if I have the time.
Oh, I'd very much appreciate it. One of the books is my diary. I'd rather it not fall into the wrong hands. If you could collect them and bring them to me, I can remove the charm.
possibly be?
Isn't Sebastian...
Rally behind strength and you can't go wrong.
Could this be Mr. Oakes's campsite? Ranrock's loyal.
What have we here? Another human? What? Was that your best?
Pity, not quite. That was meant for me.
Once you've completed the necessary tasks, come and find me in the greenhouse.
Adelaide said that her uncle kept notes of his trades, maps. Perhaps these landmarks will lead me to him. Revelio. Mr. Oakes's trade journal.
Incendio!
A rock formation. That's the first landmark on his map. Find the crooked tree. What do you have in store for me this time? after all.
Think you're clever, casting it. I thought we'd forget about that goblin helm you nicked.
Incendio! One less poacher in the wizarding world. Incendio!
Your brain been infested with bundimans? A maneuver like that could have got us...
I'll make you wish you were back at school. You've made a grave mistake. My what?
Nobody'll believe I defeated an Ashwinder by myself.